Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Thru the Garden. This is Alex, along with Jordan in his kitchen and Tommy where he usually sits.
Hello.
We have a great show ahead for you. We have Bears and Caleb Williams torturing the Panthers as Ryan Poles continues to torture them every single day of their lives. We have MLB Playoffs going crazy, and Blackhawks season is finally here. So, Jordan, Tommy, let's get into it. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
This is just a very exciting time. A
Yeah.
very exciting time. Baseball playoffs, hockey's back, football's kicking in. Just this is one of the best times of the sports calendar.
Sunday was a
Yeah.
really good day.
It was a good day Sunday. And hey, you know what's great too is we can enjoy some nice weather during this great sports season. I mean, it's been warmer than usual. The sun's been out. That's been great. So we enjoy that while the time lasts. The only thing that I think could make this better is if the Cubs were actually in the playoffs, but we've been down that road many, many times. So
I did see a meme. It was my brother-in-law sent it to me, so I should give him credit. But you know the one meme where it's like two people sitting on opposite sides of the bus, and one
know
side is
exactly
like
what meme you're talking about.
yeah,
Yep.
and the caption was like, and on the dark side it was like when my team is in the playoffs, and then the happy side is when my team is not in the playoffs. It's so true because I'm talking to Phillies fans who hate everything on a nightly basis, and then I have a couple Mets friends who are the same way, but it's tied 1-1. Everybody just chill out. So I'm just enjoying the baseball, man. It's been so much fun. 1-1.
been.
It's the first time
Yeah.
all division series have been tied 1-1.
And we
Yeah.
needed it. But like the wild card round was kind of boring outside of game 3 between Mets and Brewers.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that
So,
series was by far the best one. I mean, it's the only one that went to
easily,
the
yeah.
distance. And I mean, game 2 was pretty big too. The Mets had a lead throughout
Yeah.
most of the game, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, the Brewers come back and win. So
Yeah.
it was like you thought that the Brewers had all the momentum until the best closer in baseball, or one of the best closers in baseball, comes in and gives up like the first home run he's given up all year on a
yeah.
changeup to Pete Alonso.
Yeah, and a couple by the time this episode comes out, a couple of these series might be ending. But
Eventually, yeah.
as we're recording now on Tuesday, the Mets are just throttling the Phillies. The Phillies bullpen is just self-destructing before our very eyes.
Yep.
And then maybe I'm predicting the future in the past kind of thing, but I think we get the benches to clear tonight in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I could see it.
Like we're recording
Let
this
me
on
already tell you.
Tuesday around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So the game hasn't happened yet. On Thursday, there may be people arrested for all we know. I don't know. But I feel like we don't normally get benches clearing brawls. I'm not saying brawl, but we don't really get benches clearing anything in the playoffs because nobody wants to get suspended. But I think we're getting it tonight.
Oh, let me tell you. Manny Machado was plus 1,000 to reach base via walk or hit by pitch in his first play appearance. Already threw $5 on that. 'Cause
Yeah.
You know it's happening.
You might as well.
You know it, yeah.
Yeah, those
I don't.
tensions are high. And
I don't know if
mean,
it'll be the first at bat, but maybe
It's
if one of them gets out to an early like big lead or something. I don't know. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait.
I mean, when I saw Dodgers Padres as one of the divisional rounds, I'm like, oh, that's going to be appointment television. And so far, it hasn't disappointed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean division playoffs. I mean yesterday's Skubal, my God, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. Holy crap! That was awesome. And then the top of the ninth, the kid just rips a home run, 3-2 count. Fought and battled that, but what a great at bat! And then he
Kerry
just
Carpenter,
Yeah.
off
and then
Emmanuel Clase.
yeah, Class A, who should have been a Cub, coulda, shoulda, would have been a Cub. I don't know if we're talking Cubs tonight, but I can go all night. And it's just, it is very fun to watch the playoffs when your team is not in the playoffs. But yeah, I do have a bit of FOMO because I would love to be in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
same.
I mean, and here's the thing too that I find interesting about these playoffs, and we saw it when the Cubs were in the playoffs a number of years. You see how much the high leverage relievers are getting in there, and now you see them blowing a lot of these games. Look at Josh Hader. It just completely imploded when they got swept by the Tigers. You had Emmanuel Clase give up the 3-run home run. You had Devin Williams give up the big shot to Pete Alonso. And his career in the postseason is quite the opposite of his regular season.
Yeah.
You look back at the last few years the Brewers were in the playoffs, he's either not played, he's hurt himself, or he's just gotten completely shelled. And then Diaz blowing in that crazy game, what was it, game 2? In Philadelphia, game 1 or game 2. Yeah, the Sunday afternoon game when it was just back and forth. You're seeing these big time relievers giving up big time runs. And we remember when the Cubs were in the postseason when you could rely on Hector Rondon for a while. And then, when the Mets, they just hit everybody. And then Aroldis Chapman, who was gassed by the end of the World Series. We all know what happened there. And then you remember when Wade Davis would come in for 8-out saves, and he'd have to fight and claw his way, but he eventually got through. So it just makes me watch these playoffs and see how these high leverage relievers are just getting hit. And you got to think, man, after all those high leverage innings throughout an entire regular season, by October, it's got to be so much harder then because the pressure's up and you have a lot of miles on the arm from the season you were just playing.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
it's just, it's crazy. I would love to be a part of it, but we also need a bullpen to be a part of it. So,
which we did not have.
Yeah, maybe we can work on that.
So, I would say we definitely need a bullpen, but I think every October, the importance of the home run is just redefined. So, to Alex's point, I mean, you have big money closers that either aren't making an appearance in the game because in the Mets case, they're up 7-2 right now. You don't need your closer on the 9th. Or if you are going to your closer, look gassed from the work it took to get them to that point. And you go back to game 3 between Milwaukee and drawing a blank between Milwaukee and the Mets.
The Mets,
when you have when you have Devin Williams out there and Pete Alonso takes him deep. I'm all for the Cubs stabilizing their bullpen and be correcting their spending habits, but you can't tell me that the biggest need this team has is for a power hitter because it is. They need someone that could thump and
really, you need a complete team, and the Cubs didn't have a power hitter or bullpen, so you need both of them.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, because you can look at the number of guys on the Cubs where you could say, okay, they could hit 18 to 22, 23, 24, 25 home runs. You got Happ, you got Suzuki, you got Bellinger, you got Swanson. They're all capable of doing it, but can you confidently point to any of them and say they're going to hit 30 plus on this current roster? I'd say no.
Can you imagine having a 40 guy on this team?
2005, Derek Lee, 2005. That was the last time the Cubs had a 40 home run hitter. Even Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Kyle Schwarber when he was in Chicago, Wilson Contreras, none of those guys did it. Not Baez, nobody.
Well, yeah, to defend Chris Bryant, as I always do, he was an extra base hit machine. So he was finding his way on base and around the bases.
Per se.
I see what you're saying is how like it is surprising. I would have expected Rizzo to be a guy that hit 40, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Not even Alfonso Soriano or Ramos Ramirez in those years following 05.
Alfonso Soriano is just a wild story. I had a dream the other night that I met him.
I did meet him. He's such a nice guy. Like, really nice.
He always seemed cool.
He was nice in my dream.
Guy.
He's massive now. Like, his arm is bigger than my body.
He sleeps at the gym now. Yeah, but super nice guy. I ran into him at Wrigley, and he was one of my favorite Cubs. But I'm not a specific reason, but I just love Soriano. I
remember when we got him, and they came to Atlanta. Lots of Cubs fans in Atlanta always, and his first at bat, he cranked one very, very far. Awesome.
He was phenomenal, and couldn't be nicer. Loved that.
Yeah. When he would get a cement mixer that was low just at the knees and he would go down and golf it. And it's like when he pulled a home run, because every now and then he could go opposite field, but when he pulled a home run, you knew it was gone right off the bat. Like, and his body language, he would kind of just like, get under it, swing it, and he'd watch it and slowly walk. Like, you knew every time when he got it, he got it. And I think, too, that if Soriano put up the numbers today that he did back then, he might be a little more appreciated because there were times he fell under scrutiny. And he was also playing hurt, too, some of those years. But you notice towards the end of his Cubs tenure, he was playing better than he was in like 2009, 2010. Right. He could still hit 20 plus in those years, but you just think now, even in like the worst years of Soriano, it's like that's the best power hitting you're getting from anybody on the Cubs now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we got to find a solution in both the bullpen and power. And it's not my job to do that. It's just my job to criticize the guy whose job it is to do it. So
ball go far, team go far. That's the mantra. And I'm sure as we go in this postseason with more of the drama, the high leverage, you're going to see more dramatic home runs. You're going to see more big moments. And I mean, heck, look what the Padres did the other night to the Dodgers. A lot of home runs. Look what the Dodgers did too. And Shohei Ohtani, home run, big one, massive one, flipped his bat like a
dude. That was awesome.
I'm just so glad we get to see Ohtani in October. No, it's so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Do you think with the way that the Dodgers are kind of handling all this, I think he's a little regretful? Like, oh crap, went to the Dodgers.
Absolutely not.
Because of the money.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
He's going to be long retired, and he's going to be making more money than like most people on the planet.
But will he have a ring to show for it too?
He wasn't getting one in with the Angels, that's for sure.
And like, because like I've seen like.
Look, I'm just asking hypothetical questions here, okay?
No, because like I would say like his star profile has raised this season, for everything that has gone on with him and his translator at the start of the season. No, I think Ohtani's brand has elevated just by being on the Dodgers alone, and now
big time.
Yeah, and now we're seeing him in the most important game. So no,
you're seeing a graphic on the telecast saying X number of at-bats until Shohei Ohtani comes up. And remember this too, he hasn't pitched this year.
I know.
I don't know, like, I don't know, man. If he comes back and starts pitching and it's not great, just let him DH for the rest of his life.
I don't know how long he's going to be pitching for. I don't think he's long for pitching.
No.
Do you really want to risk that? You know, do you want to risk losing the guy that just sits on the bench and thinks about hitting all the time?
Right. No, I mean, I think that's one of the things that's one of the big questions with his free agency is if you're paying him, are you going to be paying him both as a pitcher and a hitter, or how many more years does he have in his arm as a starting pitcher? Honestly, I wouldn't even be shocked if, say, we have 2 or 3 more years of Ohtani as a starter, and then they just transition him to a reliever where he's not pitching every 5 days, but every now and then he gives you an inning or two just when you need it.
I wonder if that would make him a leverage guy or what? Interesting.
Probably a leverage, like a bullpen ace, you know?
That'd be awesome.
How would you warm him up, though, in the middle of the game if he needs an at-bat?
I don't
know. That's part of the formula. Yeah, that's
what
difficult.
Dave Roberts. I don't get paid Dave Roberts.
What a clown!
I know, right?
What a clown!
I know.
Anyways.
Speaking of clowns, Alabama disappointed me on Saturday.
I was gonna say something to you, Jordan, and then I decided against it.
So, as you guys know, I'm very particular. I'm very particular about like when I schedule things with like the family on Saturdays. I'm like, what's the college football slate? So like months ago, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm like, we got Georgia this week, we got Tennessee this week. Perfect. Alabama's playing Vanderbilt. That's a game where I could have the parents come over. We could start doing stuff for the nursery. Babe, you want to take our maternity pics? Sure. Let's drive an hour to a forest preserve, get those maternity pics. I'm not worried about this game. So we get done with all of our Saturday plans about like 5:30. I'm like, let's see what the boys are doing. I damn near broke my phone in my truck when I saw the score. I mean, yeah.
It was I mean, it was all over Twitter. Anybody that watches college football was like, this is your apple picking weekend. There's one weekend of college football season where there are no good games on, and you can go do the things that you're supposed to do for the family. And so, yeah, my wife and I, we went out, we walked around, we went to a couple places, we hung out with a couple friends, like wasn't paying attention at all. And it was just a murderer's row of upsets. And I could not have enjoyed it more because Bama lost to Vanderbilt for the first time in 40 years. And they take the goalpost and walk it straight down Broadway and then dump it in the river.
Into the river.
USC lost to Minnesota. What? That's hilarious. Yeah. The fact that USC plays at Minnesota is hilarious to me.
Oh, yeah.
Man, what else? What else happened? Cal was up by 1 million on Miami, and the Miami storms back and wins it. It ended up being an incredible college football weekend that absolutely nobody was watching.
Well, it was funny because as I texted you, I was in Wrigleyville earlier in the day on Saturday. I checked out that little fall fest they have at Gallagher Way. Nice little simple thing.
Yeah.
It was just kind of nice to be there. Weather was good. And they had the Ohio State game on the big screen. And as I'm walking by, the bars and restaurants were pretty busy. A lot of it was a combination of baseball and football. But it was cool seeing a lot of people out and about. But yeah, I saw a little bit of that game on the big screen, and I'm seeing all these upsets on my phone. I'm like, man, I was walking by just getting glimpses of this game, but I actually wasn't watching them hard in detail, So
yeah,
it's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, and actually on Saturday night, I found myself at Country Club as I normally do in Wrigley. And that is a Florida State bar, so the Clemson-Florida State game was on. And I was actually sitting with Cody from CHGO.
Nice.
And we were watching the Padres-Dodgers on my phone because we both had Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. And I sprinkled a little bit on him hitting a home run, and that's when he hit his awesome bat flip. And it was an electric moment. But everybody was watching Florida State get their asses handed to them, and I was cheering about the Dodgers. So I got some stank eyes, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's all good. You know what else was all good on Sunday afternoon at Soldier Field was Caleb Williams. I'll do it for you, Tommy. Today I'll do it for you.
That's right. That's right.
So the Bears beat the Panthers 36-10 at Soldier Field. It's fun fact, they are undefeated against the Panthers at home, except for the playoffs. They lost that one playoff game in 2005 to them, but in terms of regular season, they are undefeated against the Carolina Panthers at Soldier Field.
Was that was Julius Peppers on that 05 team, or was that prior to Julius Peppers?
I might
not
have
for
been.
the Bears. I think it was
No. I'm talking about for the Panthers.
Yeah, for the Panthers. Yeah, he was on the Panthers.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't remember if that was too early.
And John
or not.
Fox was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he was.
Yeah, John Fox did win a playoff game at Soldier Field. Just
John Fox, when he wasn't on his retirement tour, he actually was a pretty good coach.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
a good coach. Yeah. I was actually excited when they
took
got
the
Broncos.
Him. Took the Broncos.
Right. Took the Broncos to the Super Bowl, and by the time he came to the Bears, it was just past the twilight.
Oh, that was like
wrong fit at the wrong time.
Yeah, that was just like I guess I'll coach the Bears. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. And he wanted to go one direction with the quarterback. Ryan Pace wanted to go in another direction. And also, to be fair to John Fox, the roster was no good. Those teams that he coached, rosters were no good, especially in 2016. I mean, that was a practice squad roster by the end of the year when you had Matt Barkley at quarterback and everyone else was hurt. But you know what? I will say this too, as we go on a little John Fox tangent here before we get to the game. 2015, the middle of that season, his first season as head coach of the Bears, Cutler played well. Jeremy Langford was running everywhere. They almost got back to 500. They beat the Rams on the road, beat the Packers on the road on Thanksgiving. had that epic comeback win against the
Oh,
Chargers.
that was also Brett Favre retirement night. Let's not forget that.
That was the last time the Bears won at Lambeau Field 9 years ago.
Yeah,
I think Tommy's soul just
got nothing. Yeah, got nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the current Bears. Caleb Williams, 300 plus yards, 2 touchdown passes, highest QBR that we've seen as it gradually goes up and up. The pass to DJ Moore, the deep pass, that second touchdown pass, was an elite throw on every level. He took the snap, stepped back, faked out the secondary, and then flat-footed threw a perfect bomb to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. That is 2 weeks in a row where Caleb Williams has hooked up with DJ Moore in a very tight window in the back of the end zone. There was a lot of talk about how there's frustration with DJ Moore. He's not happy, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I think things are starting to click between those two. We might not have seen the chemistry before, but that stuff takes time, and I think now we're seeing it, guys.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb Williams now has 5 touchdowns on the year. 4 of them have been to not his first read. So that's telling everybody that he is actually learning how to read the defense and see where is best to throw him the ball. So
it looks good. The reads have looked good.
Yeah, reads have looked fantastic. The ball is coming out quicker and quicker. He's hanging on to a pocket that is more times than not there for him. He's looked incredible. And going on the theme of the Panthers and how this was a DJ Moore revenge game. Yes, this was a DJ Moore revenge game. He had 2 touchdowns. He looked incredible. I always think of now that Hard Knocks clip when he's playing in Buffalo and he just screams, "I love football." Like every time he catches it and I see him run and he's just shoving people left and right. That's all I can think of. But this was also a Ryan Poles revenge game. Because
Absolutely.
remember, Ryan Poles interviewed to be the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, and they said no to Ryan Poles. Then he comes here, and I was listening to an interview, or I was listening to somebody who heard an interview, and basically it was about how that Ryan Poles had the interview, and the Panthers basically told them, "What is your plan to get us a really good quarterback as soon as possible?" He takes that knowledge to Chicago and says, "I know this team is quarterback hungry, and I know they will pay whatever." And so he gets this ridiculous deal that ends up getting us DJ Moore and Caleb Williams and all these draft picks, and we're still not done. So, yeah, DJ Moore had his revenge game, but Ryan Poles, I mean, Sunday had to feel just absolutely incredible for him. And now you have a team that is on the up and up, 3-2 now, headed to London to play a Jacksonville team who had to barely hang on from blowing it against the Indianapolis Colts. So, boys, this feels good.
It should. Let's do this. The Bears single season passing yardage record is
my God.
In 1995.
Oh,
he had 3,838 yards. Caleb Williams on Sunday, as long as if he hits 264 passing yards against the Jaguars, he'll be back on track to break that single season passing record. For all the concern there was against Tennessee when, he barely threw 400 yards, what are we doing? We've now seen 2 times in 5 weeks that he's thrown for 300 yards in a game. And unlike the Indianapolis game, these yards against the Panthers were legitimate because he did it on 29 passing attempts. So there's very little not to like about what you saw. And one of the popular rebuttals from whether it's the field truthers that remain out there who are more Steelers fans than they are Bears fans, they're like, he did it against the Panthers. I can't tell you how many countless times over the past 3 years the Bears have been playing a bad defense. And we're like, this is a right game for the Bears. This is a game where you stomp on their throats. And what was the result?
They did that.
12-10 victory where they just snuck by.
Right.
That wasn't the case this past Sunday.
Yep.
Caleb Williams was dominant from start to finish, and they stepped on the Panthers' throat. I loved every second of it.
Also, the Bears have the best defense in the league. Just stop it.
Ooh.
It's up there. That Ravens defense is scary.
Ravens defense that gave up 500 yards and some odd touchdowns to a very, very not awesome Bengals offense.
Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow, though.
And Matthew Stafford was picking the Bears defense apart. So,
but how many points did they put up? And did they win the game?
They would have, if Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were healthy, they would lose the game. The Bears defense is very good. I'm not contesting that. I wouldn't put them up there as the best in the NFL yet.
I'm going to say that they have the best defense in the league.
Jordan, I'm with you because I think there are going to be some holes that are exposed. Because when the opponent blitzes, it's obviously the quarterback's job to read the blitz and find the pocket where. When not his pocket, but the pocket of open receivers. And we saw when the Bears blitzed against the Rams, when Stafford was able to pick that up, you were able to get 15, 20-yard chunks pretty quickly. Right. I also think the run stop is less than to be desired so far. It was really good last year. This year, it's like, listen, if you face a team like Detroit and you're not jumping ahead of them, they can ram the ball down your throat. Right. That's kind of uneasy to think about.
But I feel like the schedule is absolutely perfect for the Bears because they don't have to touch the division until week 11.
No, they don't.
Let's look at the next 5 weeks here. Jaguars, then a bye. At Commanders, at Cardinals. Those are going to be two.
Both those teams can put up points.
Yeah, those are going to be testers, right? And then you get the Patriots at home. Then the Packers. So... Jaguars, London. It's going to be a weird game because London is weird. Nice. Bye week at a perfect time.
Yeah.
At Commanders is going to be interesting with Jaden Daniels. At Cardinals is going to be interesting with Kyler Murray. And then the Patriots, that's a stomp on the throat game, in my opinion. Leading up to the showdown against Green Bay.
But it's really only two of the next 4 games that are a stomp on the throat game. It's the Jaguars game, which you have to throw the caveat of the game.
Yeah, I don't think you can consider the Jaguars game a stomp on the throat game because that's it is.
But that's what I mean. It's not really a soft landing spot for the defense then.
Yeah, they're still gonna, defense scores a touchdown every single week for the rest of the season. Then will you say that they're the best defense in the league?
Oh yeah, if something historically happens, like a defense getting a touchdown in every single game the rest of the season.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this defense is good. It's just a question of how good is it. And no defense is going to give up 0 points every game. Right. There's going to be a game where this defense, no matter how good or bad they are, there's going to be a couple games where this defense gets absolutely bowled over. One of them is probably going to be Detroit. Another one is probably going to be Green Bay because they are going to outcoach you, outmuscle you in the trenches, and they are going to bring it to you. They are probably going to get stomped defensively in some of those matchups. But you know what? You have guys on that defense who are legitimate, you could say, among the best in that position. Jalen Johnson, for example, is among the very best corners in the NFL. I think that your linebackers, they might not be flashy and fancy, but what Edmonds and TJ Edwards can do, they are just such a rock solid unit. There was the one guy who dropped the ball because he just felt the presence of Tremaine Edmonds. I think Tremaine Edmonds is the most underrated Bear. Both him and Edwards are the most underrated Bears on this whole team. I really do.
There are 3 NFC North teams in the top 5 of turnovers. Takeaways in the league, and then the Bears are tied for 3rd with the Chargers on that because they have 5. No, I'm sorry, they have 11 total takeaways, but a +5 differential.
Yeah.
The Packers have taken away the ball 14 times. That is a little concerning, and the Vikings 13 times. So in terms of takeaways here, they're number 3 behind the Packers and the Vikings. Yikes.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad teams in the NFC. None of them are in the North.
Not the North. Yeah, only division that every team is above 500.
We said that it was going to be a gauntlet.
We did. Mm-hmm.
This is a good time for this. I was texting with my brother-in-law and cousin-in-law. Sure. This past week, and we were talking about the Bears because I'm in a Survivor League with them, and I picked the Bears this week, and it came down to me and another guy who had the Chiefs, so I was very much watching that game Monday night. But the whole idea and the thing that they were talking about was like, oh my God, we can't let Tommy win Survivor on a pick with the Bears. And so then we were talking about just Bears stuff, and they were like, what if you don't make the playoffs this year? Like, what if all this, like, and then it got to the point of what if Caleb is a bust? And I was like, well, first off, we can't be talking about that right now. But second, there is no more pain left to be had as a Bears fan. We have done all the pain. At this point, it's just status quo. So like, I can't be hurt by this. I can't be hurt by the Bears failing in any way again because I've already been hurt the maximum amount of hurt.
Yeah, no, and just to go to like the questions they were hitting you with, I won't be honest with you. I think I've seen enough through the first 5 weeks. I don't think bust is even on the table anymore for Caleb Williams.
I don't either, but if something happens to where where
injury,
destiny turns or in some way, shape, or form, and he never throws a touchdown again, but he gives us 30 more interceptions, and then we're looking for another quarterback, it's like, okay, this is status quo.
It's just a Tuesday for us if that happens.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and that's the thing. Like even like the question about the playoffs, for as much excitement as there was about the Bears season, I think the three of us would agree that like we would take a non-playoff season, but Caleb Williams answered the quarterback question because if Caleb Williams answers the quarterback question, then everything Ryan Poles is doing makes sense. And I was listening to Jason Leisure on the Score today, and he said something that we all know. This isn't our grandfather's Bears teams. This isn't a Bears team we can make fun of for the football decisions. This is a Bears team that is very sound and calculated with the football decisions that they're making, and we're beginning to see it. Hand up, still have questions about the head coach. I think if anything,
me too. That has not changed.
I think if anything, that's going to be the reason why they don't make the playoffs. But everything else, I am on board with this team moving forward, especially with what we've seen, not only with Caleb Williams against the Panthers, but what he did against the Rams. I mean, we're seeing him do it in different personas, whether it's mature and efficient against the Rams or against the Panthers, just balling out.
Yeah, I feel like basically until the Bears do inevitably win a Super Bowl, which they will, it's going to happen at some point. But until that happens, this is house money, bro. I can't be hurt again until we win a Super Bowl.
Basically, yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Well, and you look at this situation too, is I think that if you went 8-9 or 9-8, and you just weren't quite good enough to get in the playoffs, but you saw everything come together, kind of like what Detroit did 2 years ago. Like you have the foundation, you're confident in everything there. You just came up a little bit short because you need to shore up something, or Caleb needed one more little thing to grow. That's easier to accept than just completely bottoming it out, everything looking terrible. I think there's a reality right here, right now. Detroit is so much better than you.
Oh, yeah.
The Vikings right now are better than you. The Packers are better than you because they've proven it. They've proven it, and they are so much better in the trenches than you, and they have such better head coaches. It's not even funny.
But the Bears are going to have a fair shot at proving it themselves that they belong in that realm. So if it's not this year, that's okay. Like Caleb Williams has played 5 games as a professional quarterback.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can say he's the second coming all you want, and he's the chosen one. That's great, but he's only played 5 games in the NFL.
Correct.
Right.
He's gonna have some learning to do, as are the rest of the rookies. Like, this is a young team; they'll figure it out. I'm not worried.
Yeah, and there's something else to be said too, that you're going to see some Caleb clunkers. You're going to have some weeks where he has absolute clunkers. That's just going to happen. We know it's going to happen. And it sucks that the media can be so out of town stupid and people could just be so clouded by narratives and ignorance.
They're
that
kind
they
of
don't
in town
ever,
stupid too.
Well, I mean,
TBH.
yes, but like just beyond that, I mean, we've been in town stupid for a very long time because we haven't tasted success before. But you're gonna go through your ups and downs, and it's Caleb's not the one I'm necessarily worried about. If there's growing pains with him, that's one thing. But if there's coaching incompetence and there's stuff like self-inflicted wounds by people that shouldn't be doing it, that's when I get mad. I get mad when you have the 1st and 10 false start, or when you have your offensive coordinator calling the speed run play on the goal line. Now, credit to Shane Waldron. Play calling's looked better since that game.
Yeah,
I think you're seeing better play calling.
Yeah.
You've established a run early. You use DeAndre Swift how you should be using DeAndre Swift on the outside and on the short passing game. He's not a guy you run between the tackles very often. And you're just seeing just smarter play calls in the right situations. And I think you're seeing better O-line play. It's not fantastic, but it is improved. And, you see Pryor and you see Doug Kramer, you see those guys getting shots, and you see Braxton Jones is stabilizing a little bit. So you're hoping that that is a good sign, and that not only are those plays better, but Shane Waldron is scheming everything better. So maybe it's just a little bit of a learning curve with the offensive coordinator. Now, again, you're going to play some better opponents eventually, so you see how that all comes together. But at least you can look at them and say, all right, you look at Caleb's reads. He's making the smart reads. He's making them quickly. You see them running the ball effectively when they should be. They're doing better with the screenplay, and you're mixing and matching you are keeping the tempo on Sunday, which is what I thought was very important. You give that credit to the coaches and the players, and you give Caleb Williams credit too. Calling audibles, getting in there. He knows what he's doing. I think Caleb Williams is incredibly smart. Incredibly smart.
Yeah.
He knows that playbook.
I mean, seeing him go through his reads like that, this is stuff we've never seen before.
Right, yeah. And that's why I think Bust is off the table, because whether it's a check he makes at the line of scrimmage or just we can visually see him staying in the pocket, going through his progressions, that is stuff that we didn't see from Mitch in his 4 years here. We didn't see from Justin in his 3 years here. It's stuff that if Caleb is doing this within his first 5 games at the NFL level, I mean, that ceiling is more reachable than we probably first thought it was. And like I said, it's also why Bust, I think, is no longer on the table when it comes to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and the ceiling it feels like his ceiling keeps growing game after game. Yeah. And we're realizing that he's still touching the floor. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying not to get too excited. I'm trying
me too.
I'm trying to downplay it by saying stuff like the defense is the best defense in the league and stuff, and trying to. I just want the attention not on Caleb. Is basically what I'm getting at. Is like
that makes sense.
Everybody ignore Caleb this year, and then talk about how he's the greatest in like 2 years.
No, I get it. And like I said, something could happen within the next few weeks where we're feeling completely different. The NFL is truly a week-to-week thing. I could not tell you how disgusted I was after that Indianapolis game. I wanted to throw up after that game.
Yeah, that stunk, and the Texans game stunk. But also at the same time, lost the Texans game by 6 points. Lost the Colts game by 5 points. All the mistakes, and sure there were mistakes on the other side of the ball too, or I mean by like the other team, but they were in those games. So rookie quarterback is staying in tough games and making mistakes and going back out there and still going for it. And he came really close against Indianapolis.
Yeah, it just that's speed run bullshit. That changed the game.
I would consider. Yeah, I would say the game plan from a coaching perspective against the Colts costs the Bears more than
Agreed.
mistakes made by the players.
100%. 100%. That game was on coaching. That was shameful. But
also remember, there was a meeting right after that where the players were like, yeah, this is kind of BS. So
leadership council.
But we're seeing, Shane Waldron is taking accountability. He's making adjustments, and so far the adjustments look like they've paid off. Now, we can't start games slow against better.
Right. Yeah.
We can't do that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that scared me is the Bears opening script hasn't looked good at all this season. No. And
that was one thing Luke Getsy was good at.
I was going to say, if there is one thing that Luke Getsy was really great at, it was this opening script. And we just haven't seen that from Waldron yet. Even in the Panthers game, their opening series was clunky.
Right.
And to your point, these are possessions that you can't really stand to lose when you are going up against the other teams in your division. Jared Goff, for example, last time we saw him, 18 for 18 on Monday Night Football. So there's not going to be opportunities that you can leave on the field. They're really good.
Their
lines are really good. Yeah.
They're really, really good. And they're so well coached. I just wish that team wasn't in our division, man. If the Lions were in the NFC East, I would be like, hell yeah, let's go Lions. Love this team. Love this rejuvenation. It's like how I like the Tigers. Like, I'm loving what the Tigers are doing right now.
It's fun.
Oh, yeah. Tigers are fun. Yeah.
It's great. And I wish I could feel about that for the Lions, but it's like, you're in our division. Your success directly impacts us.
I think the Lions are beatable, though. I'm not saying that they're beatable by the Bears. They are beatable.
And Tommy, this is actually where I will lend credence to your defense idea. I think the reason why the Lions are beatable, at least why the Bears can beat them, is say what you will about Ben Johnson, maybe potentially next Bears head coach. Discussion for January. But Matt Eberflus has Ben Johnson's number when it comes to the defense versus offense matchup between the Lions and the Bears. And I think, as we're talking about Caleb Williams, if he's continuing this ascension to the point where we get to those Lions games, Eberflus still has the matchup advantage over Johnson. That's where we could really begin to see Williams breakout in terms of the reason why the Bears won the game. Caleb was definitely one of the reasons why they beat the Panthers, but seeing it against a team like the Lions would only elevate his profile so much more.
Yeah, let the defense, give the offense a short field, make it easy for them. And I mean, granted, it was the Panthers, but I feel like they did a very good job of that on Sunday. They really cleaned up after the first half against the Rams, I believe. So
they did.
It's it's a work in progress, but we're the best. Shut up.
It's a lot better than us having to squint and think we see progression at the quarterback.
Yeah, it's not like we're trying to pull stuff out of our butts. Definitely.
Right.
It is like, this is really happening. It's more of like we have to convince everybody else who isn't in the bubble. Like, this is real. Like, get over yourselves. This is real.
I think people are seeing it. I really, really do. And I mean,
they're just refusing to give us credit for it.
Right. I mean, and
Who's the Panthers?
Like, it's such a dangerous game for me personally to say this looks different, because I feel like every time I think it ends up not being different for any sport. But
that's fair.
Just watch Caleb Williams. Just watch him. Like, how calm he looks. He's not like scrambling like a madman, and he can scramble when necessary, and he does it well.
And he slides and gets down and gets out of harm's way. Like, he's not looking to. There were a couple instances on Sunday where I was like, "Oh my god, just get down!" But
there was one where
when he's consciously running forward, he's not looking for a lane. He's looking for a way to get down, and that's kind of what you want to see from your quarterback.
Right.
You know what the difference is? My friend texted our group chat around midnight when the Steelers and Cowboys game ended. And he's like, how did the Steelers lose that game? It wasn't like Fields was terrible and they had control over Dallas, but how did Pittsburgh lose that game? And I told him what you just said is the reason why the Bears changed their quarterback position. Because nothing against Fields. Fields wasn't terrible against the Cowboys. But here's the thing. When the time was there for him to try and make a play in the fourth quarter, he did. But 15 of 27, under 200 passing yards, he left a lot of opportunities on the field. And
yeah. I mean, my wife's whole family is Steelers fans. So they went into the season and was like, okay, yeah, Mitch was stupid, but this one we can work with. And I was like, all right, go for it. Knock yourself out. And like the first couple passes that Fields threw was like way overthrown. Like he threw it 20, 30 yards down the field. But it's so funny. I said to my wife, I said, do you find yourself like when Justin Fields throws the ball and the camera's moving and you don't see where the ball's going yet, do you feel like it's either to the ground or to another player from a different team? And she said, yes. And I said, that was Chicago Bears football for about 3 years.
No.
Well, you hope that Caleb Williams could keep progressing, and you keep hoping that he, like I said, the reads, the speed of those reads just looks so good. Now, there's one more Bears topic I want to get to very quick is Jaquan Brisker had that really big hit that forced the fumble. And when that hit happened, I was a little worried because the way he got up, he usually does the wing flutter, kind of celebrates.
He does that even when he has nothing to do with the reason to celebrate.
Exactly. And the fact that he didn't do it and just kind of gingerly made his way back to the sidelines, I'm like, ooh, that didn't look good. So sure enough, he's in concussion protocol, so he's currently not in London traveling with the team. He could be cleared and travel to London later this week, but obviously priority number one is hoping that Jaquan Brisker is okay. That's really important. But if he's okay, you hope he could play, because that's a kind of a big loss. Jaquan Brisker is one of your top players. You are going against Trevor Lawrence, who's been very up and down lately, but he can still make the plays. We know he's capable of doing that. So that is a story to monitor this week leading up to the game against the Jaguars in London.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do hope that Brisker's out there, but if there was ever a time to miss a week, I think this is the week, because let's say that he's cleared on Wednesday or he's cleared on Thursday. Then he has to fly to England and acclimate himself and get ready to play a football game and then basically come right back.
Right.
Maybe at this point, the Bears would be better off having who they have over there and him taking this week, and he gets next week at the same time. Yeah. So if there was ever a time to have a concussion situation, I feel like now is a great time.
Touche.
No, yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, I mean, just the wide-ranging conversation of Briscoe. Unfortunately, I think that's just the player he is. There's going to be games each season where he's going to miss a handful just because of the relentless nature in which he just puts his body on the line to make a play. We saw it on Sunday against the Panthers. So, I think we'll probably lean toward him being out.
That's kind of.
Yeah, I would. If I'm the Bears, I'm planning for him not to be there because, look, this is a strong defense. I think that they can be okay without him. Obviously, you want him out there, but I think they can be okay without him for this game.
Sure.
Rest up this week, get the bye week, get ready for Washington.
Yeah. Nope.
That'll be important facing Jaden Daniels. So.
Yeah, we'll need him for Jaden for sure.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be a big game. All right, guys. So our last big topic of the night, as we're recording this,
second to last, but go on.
Oh, okay. Well, last that I'm going to be here talking. Let's just say that the Blackhawks are going to be opening their season. We're a little over an hour away from puck drop as we are recording. By the time people listen, we will have already played this game.
By the time people are listening, Connor Bedard has his first ever hat trick.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We have to bring that back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So the Blackhawks, they play in Utah, the inaugural game for Utah. This is the fifth time in Blackhawks history that the Blackhawks are going to be playing against an inaugural team. They did it with Florida. They did it with Tampa Bay. Way back when they did it against the Oilers, too. So, fun fact there, the first ever Oilers regular season game was against the Blackhawks. But look, long story short from my end, they're not going to win a lot of games again this year. But you need to see improvement. You need to see a team that looks semi-competent. You need to surpass your point total from last year. Even if the difference in wins and points is fairly marginal, you need to give us something. You need to give us some improvement. You've been bottom feeders for multiple years now, part of a plan. I've been patient. I've been understanding. You're probably still going to be bottom five-ish in terms of wins at the end of the day, but you need to see some significant improvement. And part of that is going to come as the season goes along when you hopefully get some of the prospects up and playing. The Blackhawks haven't developed for shit in like a decade plus. Their development has been beyond terrible. It's frankly embarrassing how bad their development is. So they need to start showing that they can do this under this new regime. So maybe you start off the season a little slow, but hopefully as time goes on and maybe some of these guys come up, there's a bit more chemistry with the team you have, then you're going to see some improvements. Now, of course, on the roster itself, you've added a few veterans. You brought Teuvo Teravainen back, good two-way player. You brought in Tyler Bertuzzi. He could score, he could speed, he can fight a little bit. Again, you're not doing a 180 here by any means. It's nowhere near a contending team. But you should be better than last year, even if it's marginal. We can't stay in place or take another step back. We just can't afford that. We're too deep into this.
Yeah, here's how I described it is I think that the first couple months here, October, November, probably into December, it's going to look a lot like the Puppy Bowl. Lots of points scored, or lots of goals scored, and a lot of kids just running around, like going real fast and doing funny things.
And a lot of goals given up, probably.
Right, yeah. There's going to be a lot of goals for and against, and just some really fast players just flying around. And no real sense of direction, just kind of going for it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the first few months, I'm all right with that. Like, figure it out. But like you said, by the end of this year, you do want to feel like there is an actual plan and there is a path forward. Minimal expectations to begin the year, for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm looking forward to getting in on the ground level with the Blackhawks team. I wasn't really there with Kane and Taze. I mean, I was like, obviously a big part of like the high school is that big part of the conversation. I just watched in the Stanley Cup playoffs, so I don't watch during the regular season. So, Alex, to your point, it sounds like this is a growing Hawks team. Obviously, there's Connor Bedard, but as they're growing, I kind of want to grow not only like my fanhood of hockey, but especially endear myself to a new version of this Blackhawks team. So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh yeah, if there was ever a time to jump in, I think now is the time. Like last year and now is the perfect time because, like Alex said, like they are developing these young kids. There is something happening. You can tell that it is beginning. And it's just gonna be fun. I mean, I'm watching. Like I got on now. It's opening night. So the first game was the Blues and the Kraken.
Yep.
And the Kraken were up 2-0, and then the Blues stormed back. Who the Blues are not supposed to be very good this year either. But they stormed back against the Kraken on opening day at Seattle's barn. So that was wild. But I got the Bruins and the Panthers on now, which is a rematch of the conference finals last year. And I mean, they dropped the gloves twice in the first 10 minutes. Panthers are just stomping all over the Bruins. It's 4-1 at this moment. But it is fun to see hockey back. I love it. I love watching it because it's a sport that I would just never be able to even possibly fathom myself playing. So that's why I'm into it. But yeah, come on in, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And you coming into a new sport is kind of like how we would like Alex to come into a new sport.
Oh, look at that segue.
Go for it. You segued perfect, so have at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, there was a pay-per-view for the World Wrestling Entertainment.
I take back every shitty thing I said about this pay-per-view.
And Jordan watched it live. I did not watch it until Monday morning, and I told Jordan, I will not be watching it. Don't spoil it for me. And I somehow avoided all the spoilers on the interwebs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I told Jordan exactly when I started watching it. And it's probably one of the better pay-per-views I've seen in a very, very long time.
It was phenomenal.
Starts off with Hell in a Cell with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And within the first 5 minutes, I thought we were going to see a death. Like a live death was going to happen. Blood everywhere. There's toolboxes being thrown at each other's faces. There's chains out. There's wrenches out. Through tables. Steel steps going through people's skulls. Like everything you could ever dreamed of a Hell in a Cell match, and they barely even used the cage, and I didn't even care because it was that awesome.
It was perfect.
And then into ending the night with with Cody and Roman teaming up to take care of the Bloodline 2.0, and then Uso comes back, not Jimmy. Jimmy Uso comes back, helps Roman, but then they go and help Cody because they're finishing what they were supposed to, and then Rocky comes out just to throw an eyebrow and then leave. And then after the show goes off the air on the interwebs, Cody Rhodes gets attacked by whose former friend? Kevin Owens. It was wild. It was insane. And then Monday night was awesome.
The thing I love about Triple H being in control of the creative of WWE is there's nothing that's forgotten. So beginning with Jimmy's return, Jimmy, of course, was taken out by Bloodline 2.0. And Jimmy was one of the last people that remained loyal to our OTC to the very end.
Yep.
And for him to come back, Jimmy's return, as he's just standing behind the Tagaloa twins, and Solo's like, who's that? Was great. And then for all the WrestleMania build-up between Rock and Cody and how much Rock hates Cody, the fact that they picked up right where they left off with Rock coming back, confused by seeing his cousins standing side by side with Cody, and then for them to trust the fans in attendance to capture Kevin Owens attacking Cody Rhodes. Oh yeah, it was amazing.
And like it made Raw last night must watch television. It makes Friday SmackDown must watch television. Like, gosh darn it, they got me sucked back in. I was losing it a little bit. And the Miz is going to die.
Yeah, he sounds like he's gonna be the next Wyatt 6 target. So. No notes. It was a perfect weekend.
Yeah. Anyways, Alex, we can't wait for January until you join us.
Yeah, because I heard the first Netflix Raw is going to be treated like a pay-per-view. Because mind you, that's when John Cena's retirement year kicks off. John Cena?
Come on.
Because you can't see him. You know,
I don't like when Alex hosts a show anymore. This sucks.
Wow. Wow.
Man, it's a great time to be a fan. I can't wait for McAfee to come. The only thing that
when McAfee comes back, it's going to be incredible.
If McAfee was calling that Hell in the Cell, that would have been even perfect.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee's coming back to the NFL. Whoa.
Oh, did I say NFL? Oh, damn.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah. Well.
You just wait because you're making fun of it now.
Right.
Around February, beginning of February, we're getting an apology and a thank you.
We will.
Maybe after the Royal Rumble, we'll get an apology and a thank you.
Yeah, it's cinema. I mean, yeah.
Anyways, that's all I got.
Are you through?
Yeah, I guess I'm done.
Yeah, we got enough.
I ain't hating. I just think it's funny. Well, guys, I think that's just about going to do it here on Through the Garden. We have a Blackhawks game to get ready for. It's like I said, about an hour away, but our prep time for some Blackhawks hockey. It's on ESPN tonight, so everyone can watch it, regardless if you have an antenna or not. Hopefully that new network figures it the fuck out because
so dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Frustrating.
I mean, yeah, we could go a whole nother segment on that, but like I'm a YouTube TV guy, and it sounds like the network figuring it out is just for Xfinity, so it just sounds like I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I
absolutely-
read a
I'm
thing
waiting
that
for
said
it.
that YouTube TV wants no part of this thing. So
Yeah,
you and I
so-
are screwed. I bought an antenna. It'll be here
Yeah.
tomorrow. So, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to do my very, very darndest to give a crap about the Bulls this year too.
Yeah, that's going to be a little tough. I mean,
Yeah.
they're playing their first preseason game right now in Cleveland.
Do you
But,
think they're,
I mean-
how much do you, okay, over under 14.5, how much are they losing by?
No, they're up by a few.
They're up
I was
by
gonna say,
2.
Yeah,
It's
I was saying under.
preseason.
Yeah, I was supposed to say under because
That's
it's a
true.
preseason. No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To be fair, I probably will give them like the first week because one thing Billy Donovan said today is that Lonzo Ball is going to play in the preseason. From just a basketball fan perspective, I want to see what that looks like. But
Oh, for
one-
sure.
yeah, once I get tired of that though, then they'll just background noise.
Yeah,
I-
exactly.
I do very much hope that the Bulls stay off of national television as much as possible.
Hey, but that's
Yeah.
when they win.
TNT Bulls.
Do you really
You know,
want
my
the
brother
1,
coined
2,
that
3,
term, right?
4?
Really?
He did. He
5.
was
Wow.
quoted in the papers years ago. TNT
wow.
Bulls.
Okay.
He coined that term.
At this
Speaking of
point,
which-
there are five primetime games on the schedule for the Bulls. The first
Oh.
being Thursday, November 7th against the Minnesota Timberwolves at the United Center.
Why?
We could also go to opening night in New Orleans for $5.
Oh,
Really?
tempting. But speaking
Yeah,
of
that's not
TNT,
happening.
There's no temp here.
Final you have inside the NBA.
I'd go up
Salute.
and see him in Milwaukee, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's different.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's
I'll go to
that's a
Milwaukee
very
for
nice
sure.
arena. I
Milwaukee, I was going to say that's a nice district that they got going. on
yeah,
over
I
there,
do
yeah.
believe I've seen 2 WWE shows in that arena.
No,
At least
yeah,
one. I've seen at least one.
No, yeah, I only say it did on Illinois for
The
WWE.
Blackhawks played there the other night.
They did.
Their only
did.
preseason win was like at a neutral site. So,
Interesting.
yeah, kind of funny.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fun.
What are we naming the podcast?
Bedard Hat Trick.
Yes. I think
That's
we can all
gonna
agree
age
on that.
so bad.
No,
Unless he
we're gonna-
does.
We're going to do this until he does it. He's
We're
going
gonna
to
name.
Bedard Hat Trick Part 1, Part 2.
I
We
think
should
we're on
sa-
part
We should
15
start
by
like
now.
we should start every game. We should put $5 on Bedard to get a hat trick, and then eventually, by the time he gets it, we'll get our money back.
I'm
At
done.
our rate, with our luck, I don't know. But
Yeah,
hey,
no, it's
I
a-
need
it
him to
was a
get the
brutal-
opening goal tonight. I need at least one of these jerks to get it done.
I might hop on that.
no. Good luck, boys. Anyway, be sure to follow us at Thru.GardenPod on Twitter
Oh, yeah.
and check us out on all of our platforms. We got YouTube. We got Apple. Tommy, what else do we have?
It'll be on Spotify. I believe it's on Amazon. Basically, wherever you can listen to a podcast, our podcast is on said platform.
Yep,
We're
you
right
could look
there.
at our
Yep.
faces or you can listen to audio only. So I understand if you want to go either way.
Check out my kitchen.
Yeah, you know what? Scratch that. You want to see Jordan's kitchen, so look at the video. We got to look at Jordan's
Exactly.
kitchen. I see a nice microwave back there, so
It
a
gets the
nice
job done.
quality microwave. All right, I'm Alex. He's Jordan. He's Tommy.
Yo.
Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Go Bears.